Welcome to another edition of Press Play. I'm your host, Tyler Coleman. We got a jam-packed show for you guys tonight. First, we're going to start off with the Notre Dame football team being put on probation. Then we'll jump to the Eagles hiring of their new coach. And then finally, we'll talk about the NFC and AFC championship games. And more importantly, we got a special guest for you guys. So stay tuned, and we'll be right back for more Press Play powered by 0 to 60.
I'm Jamison Williams. I attend Cardinal College Preparatory High School in St. Louis, Missouri. I'm a wide receiver committed to the University of Ohio State. I see a lot of great things in Dr. Hayes. She gets me loose when I'm running my routes. I feel agile. Also on the track, it's the same thing, so I'm really loose running my races.
I'm Dr. Connie Hayes with Fit for Life Sports and Rehab. If you want a competitive edge on the field, call me, 314-532-0957.
And we're back, and now it's time to introduce my panel. I think I got some of the hottest guys in the city. First, gonna start all the way down to the left. We got my man, Zelman Sanders. Big Z, how you doing?
I'm good, man. I'm good. Can't wait to get to it.
Hey, man, we got a special guest. We got to give him and show him what we about over here, right? And then next to me, I got my man, Mr. Will Franklin, Mr. NFL. How you doing?
What's up, brother?
Man, you ready to work today?
Let's do it.
And then I got to bring in my special guest. Got Mr. Jeremy Maclin. Played in the NFL for 8 seasons. How you doing there?
I'm good, man. I appreciate y'all having me on.
Man, I ain't gonna beat you up because you're a Kirkwood guy, but we'll get into that in a little bit. All right. All right. Notre Dame football put on probation. We'll start with you, Will. You've been in the football facilities in college. You've seen it in Mizzou, things of that sort. Speak a little bit about how these violations can affect teams and how they coming up so common.
Man, it hurts, especially in a recruiting standpoint. When you lose scholarships, it's hard to identify how you're going to go out there and approach. You know what I mean? Sometimes it's by positions. So it's going to hit them in the next recruiting cycle, not so much this one. So, hopefully, they do right by this class and finishes up on this next signing day. But it's going to make a major effect. You know what I mean? You got time that you're not going to be able to talk on the phone, text, no communication. You know what I mean? We went through a small part of that when I was there at Mizzou, where you couldn't communicate until I think it was like September 2nd or something. You know what I mean? So we went the whole summer without being able to talk to some kids. And that hurts you in recruiting, especially with the early signing date being in December. You know what I mean? So you got to get out there early and keep communication. But luckily the kids that we were able to get stuck with us and understood the situation, and, Mizzou was home for them, so they still came. But it's a tough one.
Jeremy, you were a high-level recruit. Coaches hitting you up every day. Speak a little bit about that pursuit and how those coaches are relentless, trying to communicate with a prospect.
Yeah, I mean, they're extremely relentless, man. Clearly different programs do things a little differently, but it can be overwhelming sometimes as a recruit. But kind of to piggyback, what Will was saying. Not necessarily this recruiting cycle, but the next one, and then possibly even the one after that. I saw something in the news the other day about the guy in Tennessee sticking money in McDonald's bags. Right. So they're gonna find ways to kind of do stuff like that. But I just hope the kids that are there already don't suffer from, really senseless acts. You know what I mean? So.
As we'll throw it to you, I want to ask you, you also, one thing that all three of you guys have in common, you played college football, being pursued by those coaches. Speak a little bit about your experience and how that was, a little bit speaking on to the Notre Dame situation.
I mean, with us coming in, when you coming from where you come from, you don't know what to expect. So everything is new, and unless you had somebody that came before you. A lot of us, it was the first time for everyone. So all of the recruiting coaches calling you during the season, you don't know, you just going with the flow. So even to hear about the violations, or Ty Light talking to a kid in Seattle, or Brian Kelly taking a picture, you don't know that. If you see a Brian Kelly or any coach, you see Nick, Saban, you want a picture. You're not looking at it, and they relentless like, man, that's Nick Saban. Now that's Brian Kelly, I want a picture. So to me, it seems minor, but based on NCAA, it's a violation. But when you're in the act, you don't know, you're just going with it because you're excited.
Let's get into, and this is just an open floor, but how often does cheating actually happen in college football? And is it as common as it's popping up?
I think, you know what? I think it's dumbed down a lot now. I can only imagine. I've heard stories about guys back in the day, and I first got in the league. I heard some of the older guys kind of tell me some of their stories about their college experiences, and I didn't experience none of that. You know what I mean? But like you said, man, when you come from where a lot of these kids come from, you know, we come from nothing. So if a coach offer you X amount of dollars to attend this school, or offer mom a car, or mom and dad a house, guess what? You probably gonna, hey, coach, you know, you looking out for me, and this is where I need to be. But I would say nowadays, I don't think that it's to that extent anymore. And I think it's so hard to get away with it. You know what I mean? So I think, you know, I think schools are starting to kind of move away from that.
Yeah. Supersize me, you're supersize me. Like, I don't know if y'all ever seen what Deion talked about, Deion Sanders, when he said he was at Florida State in his first year when he went to Atlanta. He said he made more in college. So it's like, what are you doing? You take a guy like Jeremy with Mizzou, was they really coming to see the coach, or was they coming to see you all? Yeah. Your jersey and your likeness is selling, and you telling them what they can't have? Like, man, are you serious? Even with Peter Ward, when they had that issue, and him and Lavernius Coles, when they was in Dillard's, like, come on, man. They the reason that Florida State was where they were, and they can't get nothing.
So we'll throw it to this then. Should athletes be paid, and if so, how should they be compensated?
That's the biggest question right now, man, is how you going to compensate the other sports outside of the men's basketball and football. You know what I mean, and girls basketball. Like, that's the biggest thing, and that's where the NCAA is having a problem with. Swimming may not have elite guys on their swim team, but should they not get paid like a football player or a basketball player? And that's the entanglement that they're having right now, is how do you pay everyone? You know what I mean? But we all know on major university who's the cash cow. And 90% of the time is the football program. No matter where you at. You know what I mean? The football program brings the most money in, but
that was one thing Coach Pinkel said, and just recently we had a conversation. He was like, how does my 93rd guy on the roster feel like he's getting or being taken care of as my #1 guy on the roster? And you know, it's tough. I think as a coach, it's tough. As a player, you like, I need what I'm worth. You know what I mean? But I can understand as a coach, you're like, all right, well, how do I take care of all my players, not just my elite guys or my household names? So.
But I mean, when you talk about that, let's be real, based on society standards. Everybody ain't gonna make what LeBron make or Jeff Bezos make. So you can't tell me you the 93rd person. Ain't nobody come see you, Otis. Nobody come see you. I mean, let's be honest. So, I mean, so you shouldn't get compensated, even the swim team, unless you Greg Louganis or somebody, Michael Phelps. Yeah, look out for you, but you can get paid what I get paid. They ain't come to see you, Otis.
No, that's 100% facts. I'm sorry. You can't get paid like a superstar, and you ain't the one filling up these seats.
But you got to deal with Title IX. That's true. And that's the holdup in college, man. Like, in the professional, I pay who I want to pay, what I want to pay. Right. But in college, with Title IX, they are undefeated. You know what I mean? So you're not going to be able to just say, I'm going to pay this sport this and not that one. You know what I mean? Title IX undefeated.
I know this, jumping into coaching now, like that's the toughest thing that I struggle with right now is, you know, how do I, you know, make sure all my kids are taken care of, or I treat all my kids the same way. And the one thing my pro coach always told me, man, the minute I got into the league, he said, Mac, he said, everybody gets treated fairly, but that doesn't mean everybody gets treated the same. Yeah. And like, that's what I try to like get over to my kids, but at the same time, being a coach, you're like, I can't, you know what I mean? I got to take care of my guys. So it's tough, man. It's tough.
Hey, well, I hate that we got to wrap this up, but we'll be right back. When we come back, we're going to talk about the Eagles and see if they got the guys that they need to lead them to the promised land and back to a Super Bowl. But we'll be right back with more Press Play.
I'm Jamison Williams. I attend Carnegie College Preparatory High School in St. Louis, Missouri. I'm a wide receiver committed to the University of Ohio State. I see a lot of great things in Dr. Hayes. She get me loose when I'm running my routes. I feel agile. Also on the track, it's the same thing, so I'm really loose running my races.
I'm Dr. Connie Hayes with Fit for Life Sports and Rehab. If you want a competitive edge on the field, call me, 314-532-0957.
We're back with more Press Play, man, and now it's time to get into the Eagles. They found a guy that they think is their guy, and Nick Sirianni, the former OC for the Colts. He had the number 9th ranked offense. I'm gonna start with you, J Mac, and tell me, did they get the right guy? Is this gonna work, and how do you think he's gonna fit with Carson Wentz?
You know what? I hope so. You know, I still got ties there, man. A bunch of those guys in that locker room are still some of my close friends. But like we were talking about earlier, I think they did, for 2 reasons. Like I said, one, I think his resume is pretty impressive from, going from quality control in Kansas City now to being a head coach. And everybody he's kind of put his hands on has always elevated their game. And coming from that Frank Reich tree, in 2017, I believe, Carson had his MVP season. So he goes over there with him. Now they're bringing him back with all the turmoil and everything that was going on inside the Eagles and with the quarterback controversy. They're thinking that he can get Carson back to that 2017 MVP form. And if they can, I mean, Carson was special that year. If he doesn't get hurt, he probably wins MVP over time that year. But so as a fan and somebody who loves that organization, I hope they did.
We'll throw it to you. Did they get the right guy?
I think so. You know what I mean? Outside of I got Eric in Kansas City, I think that was the next best qualified guy to handle what I call a unique skill set of guys that's up there infield. Like, they still got a lot of tools up there. You know what I mean? You need a guy calling plays and understanding what I have. You know what I mean? They still have a lot of guys around that can get some things done. Hopefully they keep Deuce. You know what I mean? That is a franchise guy there. He also is almost like a bloodline to what that organization bleeds. So I think with him coming back, hopefully they keep Deuce around. I think it's the right move.
And Z, I've seen in some of the reports that the owners and GM, they were allowing and letting those coaches know that were interviewing that Carson Wentz is their guy. Is he the guy for them, do you think, going forward?
I mean, like, I'm listening to them. I really never knew who he was, but I knew Deuce Staley had been there for a long time, even when Andy was there. Mm-hmm. So he go from Andy, which Doug Peterson came from up under that tree, Frank Wright and him. But I don't know if it's the right thing, because I think they're doing it based on Carson Wentz's contract. Mm-hmm. And knowing that when you make a big investment like that, you never want to lose on investment. And even if they was try to trade him, the cap hit in dead money is dang if you do, dang if you don't. So they hoping if we could bring him back in to reignite him. Okay, we had to let Doug Peterson go because he wasn't really trying to infuse new energy and new people to give new voice. So they bring him in hoping that he can get Carson Wentz to that next level. But mentally, is Carson Wentz ready? Because I'm hearing rumblings that he's hard to be around. He made some guys feel unwanted. Some guys didn't want to play for him. Some guys want to play with him. So that's hard. Once you can lose a locker room, and once a quarterback lose a locker room, they turn their back to him, man.
Mm-hmm. Hey, J-Mac, I'm going to ask you, because you've been in the locker room, you've seen quarterbacks get their job taken, replace, things of that sort. What was the mindset going into, if you're Jalen Hurts as well, too, who feel like he's earned something and he deserves something as well, too, and then you got Carson Wentz, who, like you said, they brought in a guy for him. Where does that kind of leave Jalen Hurts, and what do you think that locker room is thinking right now?
I think with Jalen, I think if I'm him, having a chance to play over the last 4 or 5 weeks of the season and having some success, right? You beat the Saints. Mm-hmm. I think if I'm him and they, say Carson's a guy, then, you can ask to get up out of there. Now, will they do it? Probably not, because the reason why they drafted him in the second round is for Carson Wentz's security and insurance policy, right? Carson, believe it or not, the last 3 seasons has been hurt, right? Didn't finish 2017, right? When they won the Super Bowl, that was Nick Foles. 2018, the same thing, right? Gets hurt. 2019 gets hurt in the playoff game. Then McCown comes in. I think McCown comes in and finishes it off. So
Straight from coaching.
They're gonna keep Jalen, and so like you said, man, when you're a quarterback and you're having trouble about getting guys to like you, I think that's an issue. Now, hopefully that's not true. A lot of stuff you can't believe everything you hear, but if that is, you know what's going on, then they got a bigger power than they think they got.
Hey, I'm gonna ask you guys and because you all three have played high-level football, what does the quarterback mean to that team? You know what I'm saying? And if the chemistry is off with him, how does that change the trajectory of the entire team? Start with you, Will.
I know from a receiver standpoint, man, that's the guy. You know what I mean? We make things happen, but when we're on with our quarterbacks, we make a lot of it's just that much more easier to go out there and play. You know what I mean? Make plays, and you know, no matter what, one of us is going to be able to touch that ball and do something special. But I've never been in a locker room where we had, you know, quarterbacks and then had great relationship with the receivers, the tight ends, the line. Like, it was always been great relationship. So, you know, to hear that kind of thing, I'll take that back. Jamarcus he was different. You know what I mean? I'll take that back. Jamarcus was different. We didn't have, you know what I mean? But you had older guys that were vets that would help you. You know what I mean? So hopefully, again, if they keep someone like Deuce around, maybe Deuce can help mentor Jalen and get him through it. You know what I mean? He's seen, along with J-Mac, seen McNabb have to get Vic ready. You know what I mean? So
I think Jalen's kind of been there already, right? It's happened to him, right? Look what happened in Alabama. All right, so I think mentally, I mean, you can tell by the way he speaks, the way he handles himself, he'll be fine from that standpoint. But to answer the question, look how the quarterback is the most important guy on your roster, period. All right, it's so hard to find a franchise quarterback in the National Football League. And I think that's why the Eagles want to hold on to Wentz because of what he did in 2017, because it's so hard to find that guy. You look at the 4 guys standing right now, right? Those are 4 franchise quarterbacks, right? It's so hard to find one. Deshaun Watson, you never want your quarterback to get to that point where he's that frustrated and he wants to get up out of there because they're just so hard to find, and Houston's going to do everything. Yeah.
Like it's done and they can never recover. That's how major it is. But even with a Carson Wentz, it means everything. Now, if you're going to lead, it's rare that you find a Eli Manning that's not vocal, but he just let us play, or a Ray Lewis who holds the team. But when you talking about a person like that, you never really hear Carson Wentz talk. And what's scary about it is you don't hear him talk, but you hear a lot of people talk about him. That's so, you know, that's what's scary about it. Normally they would speak glowingly of a person who's quiet. As many interceptions that Eli threw, they never talk bad about him. But now you hearing people speak negatively about Carson Wentz, and you don't even hear him talk. So that's not a good look for a team.
All right, so blindly, I'm gonna throw you guys on the spot. We're gonna start with you, Z. Do the Eagles win their division next year?
No.
From a fan perspective, yes. But I think that if Dallas brings back Dak, or if the Washington football team gets a quarterback, I think that those might be my 2 front runners next year.
Well,
that's shocking from you, but
it pains me to say that.
But I'm gonna go with I think Dallas will be the team to beat in that division. I think they didn't have enough time with a new head coach, and for Dak to go in there to do the things he did with no real offseason training. Because when you get a new head coach, you get extra mini camps, so you get extra reps, extra things that you get to get done. For them not to have that and him still have the numbers that he had going into week 9, he was still leading the league in a lot of categories. I'm going to take Dallas.
You always go with the better quarterback in that division for the most part, because you don't know what Deshaun Jackson's going to be like because of the injuries. You don't know what their cap going to be like because the cap's going down. So if they lose a couple players, you still asking Fletcher Cox to be that man, and they need to bring some other people in. So you never know.
And you guys mentioned, we're going to slide over just a little bit. You guys mentioned Deshaun Watson and how far in between the quarterback positions to actually find the guy is. So if Deshaun really does want to get up out of there, what do you think is the best fit for him? And we'll start with you, Will.
He just named it. You know what I mean? I say Washington. You know what I mean? I say Washington would be a fit for him.
I think Washington, Chicago, and the Jets.
Is he?
If he could make it happen, even though I don't like it, San Francisco.
That sounds good. Well, we got to go to a quick commercial break, and when we come back, we're going to talk about these NFC and AFC championship games. We got some good games, and we're going to dig in deep and see what the fellas think. So we'll be right back with more Press Play.
Just One Taste is moving on up. Located now in the heart of Florissant, 18 Patterson Plaza, serving the best chicken, fish, shrimp, tripe, and soul food sides. We also have catering and food truck services. And after one taste, you will be a customer for life.
Hello, I'm Simeon the Mortgage Man with Bank Midwest Mortgage. I have over 20 years of experience as a mortgage banker, and our state-of-the-art secure online mortgage center allows you to conveniently submit your application and documents online. Call me now at 314-485-9838 or apply online at simeonthemortgageman.com. Allow our family to help your family reach your goal of home ownership. Simeon the Mortgage Man with Bank Midwest Mortgage.
We are back with Press Play, powered by 0 to 60. And now it's time to get into the NFC and AFC championship games. One thing that I heard mentioned in the last segment was quarterbacks. And you mentioned, Z, you picked the best quarterback, usually in the game to win. So I'm going to ask you guys about this Bucs versus Packers game. It's a star-studded quarterback matchup. We got Tom Brady, and we got Aaron Rodgers. I'm going to ask you, Will, before you give us your pick, give us a little bit of analysis on what you think about that game.
It's going to come down to them two guys, man. Both got young guys that not too much playoff experience around them. Those two guys are going to have to will those teams into understanding the impact of the game and what's at stake. And I think I'm going to give that edge to Tom because he actually's been in this for the last, 10 years? He's been there 8 of the last 10. 14, so it's for me, I think Tom is going to prepare the team better than Aaron will, especially with, they had new coach, new system, bunch of new guys come in, and there's not a lot of playoff experience over there. Right. So,
hey, J-Mac, Aaron said he's in the best shape that he's been in his entire career. He's getting ready to go against Tom Brady. Speak a little bit about what you think in that matchup. What you got?
I'm going to tell you right here, man, you never bet against Tom, but if I ever was going to bet against him, it'd be on Sunday with Aaron, because two things. Aaron, back a while ago, he was like, hey, I got to get one of these NFC championship games at home, right? He finally got one at home, right? Anytime he says something, he speaks it into existence every single time. And then if you go back and look at what Tampa Bay did to him earlier this year,
they
right? Guarantee you they haven't forgot about that. So A-Rod at home in cold weather with who I think right now in the game may be the best receiver in the game, in Adams, right? What he has off the line of scrimmage is unheard of. And for some reason, they got this run game now, right? They run between the tackles. Tampa Bay, a really good run defense, but I see Green Bay winning. I don't think Tom and them are going to be able to get it done.
I'm going with, I like Aaron Rodgers. Of course, you can't take nothing away from Tom Brady. But when you start breaking down, for one, they playing in Green Bay. Now, Tom Brady playing the cold, so he's used to it. But them other guys is not, and Antonio Brown is not even playing.
They ruled him out?
Yeah, they ruled him out. Based on what I just seen, they ruled him out saying he wasn't traveling with him. So he has playoff experience, even though he never been to a Super Bowl, but he has playoff experience and he loved the big games. So now you relying on Goodwin, Mike Evans, who's kind of been banged up.
Still a dude.
Yeah, of course he's still the dude. But if I gotta analyze it, I'm gonna go with Aaron Rodgers because he's at home, and I like him being able to get in outside the pocket and make the throws and everything. Tom Brady stands in.
Yeah.
All right, so we're going to start with UZ. We're going to bring it back. Who you got in that game?
I got A-Rod, Packers.
Green Bay.
Sticking with Tom, man.
I'm going to go Green Bay. I think that Aaron Rodgers at this stage in his career is the better quarterback. And I think that he gets his team over the hump. And he was just in the NFC Championship game last year, so I think he finishes that thing off this year.
Aaron Rodgers is the most talented quarterback to ever play our game.
That's crazy that I've heard that a lot. You see Patrick Mahomes, but of course Aaron Rodgers has been doing it for so long. I wonder if Pat Mahomes is Aaron Rodgers 2.0.
I don't know. Aaron Rodgers' consistency and accuracy is just a little bit different, though. You know what I'm saying? It's just like moving outside the pocket, what he could do. But let's get into the Bills versus Chiefs, AFC Championship game. This is an interesting game.
You ain't got to ask where I'm going.
All right, we gonna start with Will. Give us a little bit of analysis on that game.
Home team, man.
Okay.
It doesn't matter, man. We at home. They don't have enough defensively to stop what we do offensively. And as we seen all year, the Chiefs play when they ready to play. You know what I mean? I think they're going to come out, you know what I mean, especially after experience Pat going down early. I think they're going to come out and let you know, like, we are the team to beat. We still are Super Bowl champs.
Man, you know, I'm partial as well, but what worries me a little bit is Pat's health. Yeah. And then also, if you look at the Chiefs' last 3 games, all right, didn't play well against Atlanta, right, at home. Lost to the LA Chargers, but there was backups playing. I understand that. And then you go back to last week, didn't really play that well against Cleveland either, at home. So it worries me a little bit. Josh Allen is a man. He's proven everybody wrong.
Yep.
Getting better each and every week. Stephon Diggs is playing like the best receiver in football. That defense flies around. They're small, but they fly around. They make plays. I'm worried that if Pat is not 100% healthy, I don't know if they can win.
Right. And see, that was my concern because if it was up to me, of course you want to go to the Super Bowl, but I don't. We've talked about it in the past. I don't want to see that Steve Young or the Mike Vick because them concussions can come multiple. You know, now it's cold, so even when you hit the ground, it's a different feel when it's warm. So if he's good, he's good. But one wrong hit, because even that hit he took, to most people, it didn't seem like he was gonna get up wobbling. I ain't know what was going on with that man when he stood up. So that gives the Bills a real chance to beat them now, because you don't know what you're gonna get with Pat Mahomes and how healthy he is.
All right, so we gotta go with our picks. So you guys see?
I got the Bills.
J-Mac?
Oh man, I'm gonna go KC.
Will?
KC, baby.
I'm going to go with the Bills. Now, I'm going to ask you guys one quick question before we got to wrap it up. Who's the best wide receiver left in the playoffs?
Best?
The best wide receiver left in
Left
the
in the playoff, playing right now?
Yeah. Stephon Diggs, Devontae Adams, Tyreek Hill. You got it.
I'm gonna stay with Tyreek, man. Yes.
Tyreek's the best playmaker. The best receiver is Adams.
Yeah, I'm going with Devontae Adams. Yeah. I like how they move him, and then with Aaron Rodgers throwing, they move him a lot. Even though they move Tyreek, they don't move Tyreek the way they move him because they got other weapons. So I'm going to go with Devontae.
I like Devontae. I'm going to have to go Stephon number 2, though, for me. Because, I mean, what he's able to do with this young quarterback, that's really, really special. And then Tyreek number 3 for me, just because he does have the tight end and he does have other weapons on his team. But, man, I really do appreciate what you guys brought to the table today, man. Y'all brought y'all thing, man. But no, on some real stuff, we appreciate you guys joining us for another edition of Press Play. I'm your host, Tyler Coleman. I got my man, Zelman Sanders. We got a Jeremy Maclin. We appreciate you being on with us. We got Will Franklin also, you know, Mr. NFL. But we appreciate you guys, and we'll see you guys again for another edition of Press Play powered by 0 to 60.